Well, ladies and gentlemen, this was another rough one for the Steelers. And I'm just tired of losing to the Raiders. I don't care whether they were in Oakland, LA, or Vegas. Mike Tomlin's record against the Raiders, that's one of the things you can hold against Mr. Tomlin. But welcome to the channel. Welcome to the Steeler Review. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And here we go. Yeah, this was a rough one today, folks. And there were certain times where, I had to keep from throwing that remote because the Steelers had chances to win this football game, and they let it slip away. Now, this is one of those times, and nobody's been a bigger Mike Tomlin supporter than me. But, man, there are just certain times when the Steelers lose these games, especially after a very good game against the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. Then we follow it up with a stinker here at Heinz Field in Pittsburgh. Now, I know that the Steelers are a very flawed football team. I'll be the first to admit that. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not expecting us to go to the Super Bowl this year. I'm not. I know that we're in the middle of a rebuilding phase. And let's face it, and this loss was not on Big Ben. A lot of people are going to put it on him. And in some ways, I get it. Because he is the leader of the team. And he threw one of those interceptions where it's like, you've got to be kidding me. And he'll do that from time to time, unfortunately. That's just the way he is. But, listen, the defense was depleted. We were already going in the game without Devin Bush. TJ Watt gets hurt early. Tyson Alualu will be out for the season. He broke his ankle. He'll be going in for the MRI tomorrow. But I tell you what, and Joe Hayden was a scratch also. He was out. But I tell you, the injury at the end of the game during a meaningless last 8 seconds, listen, again, nobody is a bigger Mike Tomlin fan than I am. Nobody. But that is purely on Mike Tomlin. If he's out any stretch, if that knee injury is one of those 4 to 6 weeks or out for the season deals, that's directly on Mike Tomlin, head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. You cannot allow him to be out there for the last 21 seconds of a meaningless football game that's done and over with. Even if you score there, you don't win because it was a 2-score game thanks to the late field goal by the Las Vegas field goal kicker. You cannot allow that to happen. Now, we know that we are a very flawed football team. We cannot run the football. Najee Harris actually did improve from last week. And I tell you what, that stiff arm was impressive. And the touchdown pass that he caught was very impressive. And trust me, the Steelers, this season can go either way. And we know the thing about football is it is a marathon, but it is still a sprint. And every game is important. Now, luckily, nobody from the division has ran and hid from anybody. So, trust me, the division is more than in play. Look at the guys. Cleveland, they weren't impressive. Let's face it. I tell you what, if Tyrod Taylor doesn't tweak his hamstring, they might have lost that football game. You saw what Baltimore did against the Raiders. And you saw Cincinnati lose. So there's a very good shot that the entire division could be either 1-1 or, hey, listen, the Ravens could go down 0-2 playing the Kansas City Chiefs. That could very well happen. And right now, to be quite honest, the Steelers have played the most impressive football when you look at the lack of personnel and you look at the type of teams that they played. They played an undefeated Raider team, and they have played a Buffalo team that is picked by many to win their division and be a Super Bowl representative for the AFC. Obviously, most of the big money is on Kansas City, but a lot of people chose Buffalo as their dark horse pick. And you saw what the Steelers did going into Buffalo. Now, again, what's alarming is the record against the Raiders is abysmal under Mike Tomlin, and there's no excuse for that. Especially with, and me personally, I can't stand John Gruden. Cannot stand it. He's the most overrated coach in all of pro football, but he continues to stick it to the damn Steelers, and I can't take it. Very hard for me to take. But it is what it is, unfortunately, and the Steelers are going to have to buckle up and get ready for next week's game. Now, we don't know the extent of Deontay Johnson's injury. As I mentioned, Alualu's out. Now, I don't know how bad the groin injury is for TJ Watt. And it's just going to be it's going to be a touch-and-go situation, no question about it, when it comes to the health of this football team. Just a moment. Just one moment. Please bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. Now, next week, we do play Cincinnati. Now, Joe Burrow looked bad against that Chicago Bear defense. But that Bear defense is definitely a top-notch defense. Now, I don't know who's going to be healthy and be able to play this Sunday, but that becomes a must-win. There's no question about it. And let's face it, any time that you play a division rival is a big deal. But the Bengals are going to be thirsty, especially after the type of loss that they had against Chicago, where they had a chance to win. Both teams hungry. But you could not allow the Bengals to come in after a loss to Chicago, come into your territory in Heinz Field and get the victory. And Burrow, I tell you what, he took a step back this week. No question about it. I do not expect Joe Burrow to play as poorly as he did this week against the Chicago Bears. But that being said, the Steelers are going to have to rev up the pressure, especially if they're going to be out TJ Watt. We know Alualu's out for the season. It'll be interesting who the Steelers are going to place. We're going to see more Isaiah Buggs, no question about it. More Melvin Ingram. But the Steelers have to pick it up with their pass rush to make sure that they can get the victory next week against the Cincinnati Bengals. But to cap it off, the Steelers have to also run the football a lot better. Trey Turner getting ejected, that certainly did not help matters on the offensive line. Let's face it, the offensive line is still a work in progress. It's going to take about 4 to 6 weeks for that offensive line to gel, and Trey Turner is a big part of that, and he has to be able to keep his cool and not get kicked out of the game as he did. But nevertheless, it was a terrible Steeler loss. No excuses. 26-17. Another loss to the Las Vegas Raiders. Unacceptable. And they cannot follow it up with another bad loss against the Cincinnati Bengals next Sunday. So hopefully we'll play a lot better football, and hopefully the injuries to Deontay Johnson aren't bad, and Joe Hayden and friends will be back, and Devin Bush. I understand you don't want to rush them back too quickly. That being said, you do not want to go down 0-1 in your division. Thanks so much for joining me, ladies and gentlemen. Please like, share, and subscribe. Uncle Claude signing out. Take care and stay safe, everybody.